What if your body has been signaling you all along, but you just never knew how to recognize the signs? Contrary to popular belief, most people don't experience sudden, unexplained deaths. The reality is that the body rarely shuts down without giving us warning signs first. The problem is, these signs are often quiet, subtle, and so easy to overlook, which makes them even more dangerous. After the age of 70, your body starts to change. It becomes more fragile, more vulnerable, and at the same time, it begins to communicate in a way that might be hard to understand, skipping a meal, a restless night of sleep, or a mood swing that comes and goes. These aren't just part of the aging process. They could be signs that your body is trying to send you a final warning. I've witnessed too many people go to the hospital thinking it was just a minor issue, only to never return home. That's why this video is so important. Today, we're going to talk about 5 hidden signals that can show up weeks or even months before a sudden, life-threatening event. These aren't here to scare you, but to wake you up and encourage you to take action before it's too late. If you're over 70 or know someone who is, stick with me. You might recognize something that could save a life. If you're still here, it means you care about your health or the well-being of someone you love, and that's a wonderful thing. Awareness is the first step toward prevention. In this video, we'll dive into 5 hidden warning signs that could point to serious health issues before sudden death occurs in adults over 70. These signs aren't meant to scare you, but to help you prepare, giving you the knowledge, confidence, and peace of mind to act in time. The issue isn't that the body doesn't warn us. The problem is that we haven't been taught how to recognize these early signs. Too often, we chalk them up to simply getting older, when in reality, they could be serious red flags. The good news is, if these signs are caught early, many can be treated, managed, or even reversed. In this video, we'll explore each of these signs, backed by real-life stories, simple explanations, and practical tips you can start using today. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an important video that could protect you or someone close to you. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the first hidden sign, one that's easy to miss, but could be the earliest sign of something much more serious. Sudden changes in personality or behavior. One of the most common and overlooked signs that something is wrong is a sudden shift in personality. This could manifest as irritability, mood swings, heightened anxiety, or withdrawal from loved ones. Often, it's dismissed as just getting older or being grumpy. But when someone who was once calm and cheerful suddenly becomes easily agitated or begins to isolate themselves, it may be more than just a bad mood. It could be a signal that something is seriously wrong. Take George, for instance. At 78, George was known as the friendly neighbor who always greeted everyone from his porch. He loved doing crossword puzzles, taking morning walks, and chatting with his friends at the local diner. But over a span of just a few months, George's behavior changed drastically. He became quiet, stopped showing up for breakfast with his friends, and began snapping at his wife, Eleanor, for no apparent reason. Sometimes he seemed confused, putting the car keys in the refrigerator or forgetting how to use the remote. Initially, his family thought it was just a sign of aging or stress. But then, George experienced a minor stroke, what doctors call a transient ischemic attack, TIA. The subtle changes in his personality were early signs that his brain wasn't getting enough blood flow. When it comes to personality changes in older adults, particularly those affecting mood and memory, several underlying factors could be at play. Small, unnoticed strokes can affect areas of the brain responsible for regulating emotions. Certain types of dementia, such as frontotemporal dementia, often start with behavioral changes before memory issues arise. Even problems with the heart, infections like urinary tract infections, or adjustments in medications can alter how a person feels or behaves. The key takeaway here is not to dismiss these changes as just a part of aging. A sudden shift in behavior, especially if it's out of character, should always be taken seriously and investigated. Here's the good news. Early intervention can make a significant difference. If you or someone you love starts showing unusual irritability, confusion, or withdrawal, don't wait. Schedule a checkup, request cognitive screenings, or even a basics neurological exam. Keeping the mind active is crucial. Try reading, doing puzzles, or learning something new. Staying physically active is just as important. Light exercise helps improve blood flow to the brain. Perhaps most importantly, staying connected with others can help prevent symptoms from worsening. Social isolation can exacerbate mental health issues, so staying in touch with family, friends, or joining a senior group can have powerful protective effects on the brain and overall well-being. Sometimes, the most subtle changes are the most important to notice. George was fortunate. His mild stroke was detected early, and with therapy, he was able to recover much of his previous self. However, many aren't so lucky, which is why it's so important to be aware of those early warning signs. Now, speaking of subtle signs, let's move on to the next hidden warning: unexplained fatigue that comes and goes. The second hidden sign of potential health decline is a deep, unexplained fatigue that seems to appear in waves, without warning or any clear cause. This isn't the usual tiredness you feel after a long day of gardening or housework. Instead, it's a fatigue that quietly sets in even when you've had plenty of rest, making tasks like folding laundry or walking to the mailbox feel much more draining than they should. The danger lies in how easily this symptom is brushed off. Many people simply say, "I'm just getting older," or "I must not have slept well." But when the fatigue becomes persistent, unpredictable, or feels out of proportion to your activity levels, it may be signaling something much more serious, often related to the heart. Take Margaret, for instance. At 76, she lived a fairly active lifestyle. She wasn't a marathon runner, but she walked her dog twice daily, cooked her own meals, and looked forward to weekly visits from her grandchildren. But one summer, Margaret began feeling the need to nap during the day, a habit she hadn't had in years. Initially, she shrugged it off, saying, "I guess I'm just getting older." But as the fatigue worsened, she started skipping her afternoon walks and found herself winded after standing at the sink for too long. Her daughter noticed that Margaret appeared paler than usual and began nodding off in the middle of conversations. When Margaret finally saw her doctor, she was diagnosed with early-stage congestive heart failure. Her heart wasn't pumping blood effectively, and as a result, her body, especially her muscles and brain, wasn't receiving enough oxygen and nutrients. Her body had been trying to conserve energy to protect itself. Fatigue in older adults is one of the most common but also the most misunderstood symptoms of heart issues. When the heart struggles to deliver sufficient blood to the body, it signals the brain and muscles to conserve energy by reducing activity. It's like your body switches to a low-power mode. But fatigue can also be linked to other conditions, like sleep apnea, low thyroid function, anemia, or chronic inflammation, all of which should not be ignored. The most important thing is to watch for patterns. If fatigue hits without explanation, lasts longer than a few days, or feels more intense than usual, it's time to take action. When unexplained fatigue lasts more than a few days, or feels unusually heavy, it's time to take it seriously. The good news is that there are steps you can take to address this issue. First, consider keeping a journal to track your energy levels. Note when the fatigue begins, how long it lasts, and what activities you're engaged in. Second, talk to your doctor and ask for basic blood work, as well as a heart checkup. Third, make small but steady improvements to your daily routine. Drink more water, get consistent sleep, and move your body a little each day. Even a brief 10-minute walk can help improve circulation and boost your energy naturally. Most importantly, listen to your body. Fatigue isn't a sign of weakness. It's your body sending a message. Now, let's move on to another warning sign that can often be overlooked, one that's closely tied to the body's decline: a sudden loss of appetite, even for foods you once loved. A loss of appetite is another hidden signal that the body might be heading into a dangerous decline, especially when it involves foods that were once enjoyable. It might start subtly, like skipping breakfast or pushing aside dinner, but when someone over 70 suddenly loses interest in meals they've always loved, it's rarely about taste. It's often the body's way of conserving energy as essential. Systems begin to slow down. Unfortunately, this warning is often misinterpreted by family members as moodiness, depression, or simply not being hungry that day. Take Joe, for example. A retired firefighter in his early 80s, Joe was known for his daily breakfast ritual: black coffee and 2 slices of buttered toast with strawberry jam. No matter the weather, this breakfast was a constant part of his day. But one morning, Joe left his breakfast untouched. His wife, Helen, thought maybe he just wasn't in the mood. But then it happened again and again over the following weeks. Joe started refusing lunch, picking at dinner, and saying he felt full after just a few bites. Though he was losing weight, he hardly noticed. When they finally visited the doctor, tests revealed a serious issue. Joe's kidneys were failing, and his digestive system was slowing down. His body was no longer prioritizing food because it was focusing on more critical functions. Within 6 weeks, Joe passed away peacefully at home. Looking back, Helen realized that his declining appetite had been his body's quiet cry for help. From a medical standpoint, a loss of appetite in older adults can signal several life-threatening issues. As the body begins to shut down, it often starts by slowing non-essential systems, like digestion. A diminished appetite may also result from conditions such as liver failure, advanced heart disease, chronic infections, cancer, or even medications that affect taste and gut function. Even poor hydration can interfere with hunger signals. The key is to notice when the pattern shifts. It's normal for someone to eat less from time to time, but if they start consistently skipping meals, losing weight, or showing less interest in food, it's time to act. Thankfully, there are ways to address this early. Begin by gently encouraging smaller, nutrient-rich meals instead of large ones. Soups, smoothies, or protein-rich snacks can help keep mealtimes social and relaxed. Rather than feeling pressured, it's important to monitor weight regularly. If weight loss continues, seek medical evaluation without delay. Sometimes a change in medication, a blood test, or even a small adjustment to daily routines can help restore appetite and energy. It's crucial to remember that food isn't just fuel. It's also about connection, memory, and life. Ignoring changes in appetite may mean overlooking a deeper issue that your body is trying to warn you about. While appetite indicates what your body is taking in, the next hidden sign reveals something about what's happening while we rest. Let's take a closer look at a strange but meaningful clue. Waking up frequently between 1 and 3 a.m. Waking up in the middle of the night might seem like a normal part of aging, but when it happens repeatedly, especially between 1 and 3 a.m., it could be much more than just a bad sleep habit. For many older adults, these quiet, restless hours are when the body is trying to alert you to deeper internal stress, whether related to the heart, lungs, kidneys, or even hormones. Frequent night wakings are often a symptom, not the root cause, and when this pattern shows up consistently in someone over 70, it should never be ignored. Let's look at Mildred, for example. She was 81, a retired school teacher who lived alone and took pride in her independence. Every night, she would get into bed by 9:30, read a few pages from her mystery novel, and drift off peacefully. But over the course of a few months, Mildred began waking up suddenly around 2 a.m., feeling restless and sometimes experiencing a pounding heartbeat. She would sit in the dark living room, sip water, and eventually fall back asleep around 4 am. At first, she thought it was just anxiety. Her doctor suggested cutting back on caffeine, but Mildred didn't even drink coffee. Then one night, she felt a tightness in her chest that wouldn't go away. She called her daughter, who rushed her to the emergency room. The diagnosis: atrial fibrillation, an irregular heart rhythm that had been silently developing and disrupting her sleep as her heart struggled to regulate itself overnight. There's a reason the body often acts up during the early morning hours, between 1 and 3 a.m. Your liver is most active in its detoxification process, and your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, begin to rise in preparation for waking up. For healthy people, this shift happens smoothly. However, when your body is under stress due to heart rhythm issues, kidney problems, sleep apnea, or blood sugar imbalances, this shift becomes turbulent. Your nervous system gets overstimulated, your breathing might become shallow, your blood pressure may spike, and you wake up, sometimes gasping, sometimes sweating, sometimes with no clear explanation at all. Many seniors brush off these early morning wake-ups, but consistent wakings during this window are like an internal alarm clock telling you that something needs attention. There's also a psychological component. Nighttime is when the mind is most sensitive to loneliness, fear, and unspoken worries. If the body is already under stress, mental stress can add fuel to the fire. Poor nighttime oxygen flow, especially in people with undiagnosed sleep apnea, can disrupt deep sleep cycles and put strain on the heart. Over time, this contributes to fatigue, confusion, memory loss, and even heart failure. So, that seemingly innocent 2 a.m. waking could be more meaningful than you think. If you or a loved one is experiencing this, start by keeping a simple sleep journal. Record what time you go to bed, when you wake up, and how you feel. Bring this log to your doctor and ask about a sleep study or checking for underlying heart or lung issues. Sometimes, something as simple as adjusting medications, using a CPAP machine, or making changes to your sleeping environment can make a significant difference. Explored all 5 hidden signs: the personality shifts, unexplained fatigue, fading, appetite, silent night wakings, and breathlessness while still, it's time to bring everything together. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned, and more importantly, what we can do starting today. If you're still watching, that means you truly care about your health or someone you love. Comment, "I'm still here" down below, so we know who's listening. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon, because the advice in these videos could one day save a life. Let's recap what we've just learned. None of this is random, and none of it should be ignored. Personality shifts that seem out of character, fatigue that shows up without warning, a loss of appetite that takes away your taste for even your favorite foods, restless nights between 1 and 3 a.m., shortness of breath while simply sitting still. These are not just parts of getting older. These are signals, warnings, quiet calls for help from a body that's trying to hold on. The good news is that most of these signs, if caught early, can be treated, managed, or even reversed. We're not powerless. In fact, just by watching this video, you've taken a powerful step toward protecting your health or the health of someone you care about deeply. Awareness is the first step. Action is the next. And if you're feeling fear or regret right now, I want to tell you something important. It's not too late. It's never too late to listen to your body. Ask questions, speak up at your next doctor's visit, or start with small, consistent changes that protect your future. Your body is not your enemy. It's your most loyal companion. It doesn't betray you. It begs for help quietly, patiently. The question is whether we listen. So don't wait for a crisis. Don't wait until something breaks. Listen now. Act now. Because staying alive isn't just about years. It's about living those years with strength, clarity, and dignity. I truly hope this video gave you something meaningful, something you can carry with you, reflect on, and maybe even share with someone you love. You are not alone. You matter. Your life still holds so much value, no matter your age or stage. If something in today's video stood out to you, let us know in the comments. Which signs surprised you the most? We'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, or even your questions. We read every single comment, and your voice is an important part of this community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Until we meet again, stay aware, stay strong, and take care of yourself and those around you. You deserve to live each day with clarity, confidence, and dignity. We're here for you, always. Thank you for your patience and for following along with us.
You've made it to the end of this video. and that means you're taking proactive steps for your health and the health of those around you. This journey of awareness could one day be the difference between crisis and prevention. Remember, the 5
hidden signs we've explored, the personality shifts, unexplained fatigue, fading appetite, restless nights, and breathlessness while still, are not to be overlooked. They are subtle, quiet cries for help from a body that's trying to communicate its needs. And with early detection, most of these signs can be treated, managed, or even reversed. You are not alone in this, and your life matters, no matter your age or stage. Awareness is your first step, and taking action is the next. It's never too late to make small, consistent changes that can significantly impact your future. If something from today's video stood out to you, or if you've experienced any of these signs personally, please share with us in the comments. We value your voice, your stories, and your questions. This community is here to support one another. So, stay aware, stay strong, and take care of yourself and those around you. You deserve to live each day with clarity, confidence, and dignity. We're here for you, always. Thank you for caring, and until we meet again, stay healthy and stay strong.